On today's show, should you be releasing less music than you are now?
This is 15-Minute Music Marketing, and we're going to find out.
Welcome to 15-Minute Music Marketing, the show for independent artists and DIY musicians who want to get better at marketing their music.
Hi, I'm Greg.
Hello, I'm Sheldon, and this is 15-Minute Music Marketing, the show for independent artists and DIY musicians who want to market their music, but at a quick pace.
And get better at it.
Much
better.
It's a conversation point for this week's episode that it could be a bit of a hot topic, but it's something I've been thinking about of late. I do think about things quite a lot, Greg. And
Has it been keeping you up at night?
It has, and I'm going to throw this out there to our audience and our listenership, and they maybe need to ask themselves this particular question. I'm going to challenge them. Should you, as a DIY artist, be releasing less music rather than more music?
Yeah, but I thought being a musician and speaking on behalf of the musicians, I thought the best thing to do would be is once you release one song is to, if that didn't pick up much traction, the best thing to do is write another one.
Well, let's try and contextualise everything. And obviously, musicians, be they signed to a label or independent artists, they're within the music business, the music industry. That music business tends to like new music for a number of reasons. New music benefits the business as a whole. It benefits press. It benefits radio, and it also benefits streaming services who like a constant supply of new music to keep their platform seeming fresh and exciting. Indeed, the algorithm favours artists who release music on a 6 to 8 week basis, which is an incredible rate.
That is a fast machine. So on that basis then, if that's what the machine wants, what you've just suggested seems incredibly counterintuitive.
Well, I hate to tell this, but people like older music. It's a statistical fact that people like old stuff, old music. There was an American Harris poll in 2021. 80% of music listeners agreed that they favoured music that they've heard before over new music. We all have a bit of nostalgia, Greg. On average, new releases made up less than 20% of the music that listeners chose. They reported that of the music that they listened to, 69% was music that they'd heard before, 18% was newly released music, and 13% is older music that was new to them. So at a start, a lot of people aren't that bothered with new music.
But the thing is, though, I don't deny those figures, but that 69% of music that they've heard before was at some point part of the 18% of newly released music that was new. So it's almost like
the populace as a whole.
It's an oxymoron here, because it's that music had to be new at some point.
At some point, but the expressed as a percentage that the new music that's released is always going to dwarf the music that we've encountered before. During
what time
our
period does new music become old music? Is there a defining period of time?
Don't they say that statistically once you reach the age of about 35, you're not really that bothered in new music anymore?
Not really going to lie there.
So there's a quandary here in that a lot of people like older music rather than new music, and if you're constantly releasing new music, potentially statistically the odds are against you. The one thing I would also say here is that DIY musicians, a lot of the time, are always in a discovery phase. So in other words, we all know the massive superstars, that exist within our top 40, and then the legacy sort of, musical artists, your U2s, your Tina Turners, your Stings. I noticed you had a Sting album. I hate to break that.
There's nothing wrong with Sting.
There's nothing wrong with Sting, right? So we all know those artists. However, smaller independent artists, they're always going to be in a stage whereby the majority of the populace and the planet has never heard of them, has never heard their music, no matter how long they've been going, whether they've been established for 2 years or 20 years. The very nature that they are smaller independent artists means that it doesn't matter whether somebody might stumble across a song on social media, especially TikTok, in terms of the way that its organic discovery works. The majority of people will not know whether the song that they're watching, or the music video or the live performance, they don't know whether that song was recorded last year or 20 years ago. So I think what I'm suggesting here today is that if you're a DIY artist, if you've got good enough music, forget the fact that it might have been recorded 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. It's always going to be new
to somebody.
And what artists tend to do is that they themselves, I think maybe because it's part of their thing of being an artist, they like to be constantly creating new music, and they maybe think that by writing new music, you can say, this new song is going to be the one that breaks me through to the next level. And really what it might actually be is, it might be that song that they probably feel is now old and is past it and is in the past. But really, it's not in the past to somebody who's never heard it. 2 of my recent TikTok successes in the past couple of months that got over 1 million views. One was a song we released in 2013, and the video was shot in 2013. And the majority, again, the 1 million people didn't know.
So it was like a decade ago.
And another one which got over 1 million views. It was a performance that was recorded 6 months ago, but it was actually written 13 years ago.
Which song was that?
Perks of the Job.
But then again, I guess in that respect, it resonated with more people because the time was right.
So, yeah. But what I think you need to maybe restructure and reframe the way that you look at the songs that you've written. And as long as you're making potentially new content based around your older songs, so in other words, like, new performances, that sort of thing, so you can keep maybe your existing fan base engaged. So rather than just constantly using clips from, the same performances or the same music video that you shot for a while, as long as you've got this constant stream of content, it doesn't matter how old those songs or that back catalogue is, I would suggest.
Well, the thing is, you did this, didn't you, in terms of, like, I think once you'd started to get your head around TikTok, I guess also because it's time-consuming trying to come up with completely new songs with completely new promotional material, isn't it?
You can argue that if you've got one killer song, that's really all you need. All you need to do is just find ways of reinventing that. If you've got one song which dwarfs all others, or even maybe just a couple of ones. I mean, if you've got a few songs that are on Spotify, maybe look through your top 5. Those are the ones that people like. Those are the ones that you should be marketing in perpetuity. I mean, my band last released an album 5 years ago now. And
what, the Christmas song?
Oh, actually, no, we did do Christmas albums don't count, Greg.
Yeah, but they did have original material on it.
It did, but 11 months of the year, no one wants to engage with the bloody thing. So, yeah, that's my challenge and my thought piece to our audience. Do you need to constantly be releasing new music when your older music needs to be marketed better and more aggressively to more people?
Okay, you put here, so are there any expectations to this?
Exceptions.
Exception. I'll start this again.
No.
So, are there any exceptions to
Well,
this?
it's funny you should ask me that,
put my
Greg.
glasses
There are a couple of exceptions, I would say. If you're starting out, then obviously you're going to need to build up that back catalogue of music and of songs. So, if you're an artist that's just starting out, obviously you're going to need to write all those songs and have that pool of music to be constantly marketing from. So don't worry, but release away if you're a new artist. If you're in maybe the pop market or are dealing writing appealing to a younger demographic, then they're like a constant stream of new stuff. So you might need to be releasing on a more regular basis if you're going for the hip youth market. And also probably lastly, if you're on a personal journey of improving your songs as your music career has developed, and you look back and you think at some of your older material and you think maybe those older songs aren't actually up to scratch and I've grown better in my songwriting, then it may well be that you can't delve too far into your back catalogue. That would sort of make sense. There's no point spending money and time marketing stuff which is of an inferior quality to what you might be producing now or have recently released in the past. That would be another caveat. But yes, I'm challenging you to dip into your back catalogue, market those old songs which still haven't been discovered by so many people before you set off on your journey to write the next chapter of your musical career.
Because you're also in danger if your marketing consists of just writing new material and releasing it, then you're just going to be literally repeating the same lack of exposure as the previous release, aren't you?
Indeed, yeah. And there's no point really releasing any new music till you've properly exhausted all your marketing opportunities for your old
Right, a
material.
question. I know this is not on here.
He's off on a tangent,
No,
ladies and
not
gentlemen.
off on a tangent. Because I speak to a lot of musicians.
You do?
Because I'm mostly not one. I'm this side of the glass rather than the other side of the glass. Why is it that so many musicians don't find this fun or interesting? Because when I did a bit of branding with an artist that I worked in, that creative process was as involved as it would have been as making a record. So, and it was exciting and it was interesting and it was like, you're creating something new to emphasize the other creative thing you've already produced. So why do so many people not find this so uninteresting? And do you really find it interesting?
I find it incredibly interesting because, as you say, I find that having to market things and finding the best ways to do that, it's an extension of my artistic process. And obviously, our last episode was all about sort of a chat GPT and using technology to help enhance that particular process. But no, I find it an extension and part of the creative process, the actual sort of making the music or the content, and then there's the skills that you need in order to effectively mine. I just think that I won't say musicians are lazy, but they consider that they close themselves off and they think that their creativity, a lot of them, ends at the point of the song is finished. They're thinking in a very old school, quite linear fashion.
Yeah.
The recording process is ended. That is the end of that particular song.
That's in terms of my work within
my
the
work
journey,
here is done.
My work within the journey of the song ends at the point I've finished recording the song, and then my continual promotion of that would be playing live. So effectively, in their eyes, just focusing on what they perceive to be the fun stuff, because realistically, they haven't experienced anything further of a creative process because they draw the line there. They literally place their own barriers.
Yeah, they think that everything is finished when really you're only sort of 50% of the way through the process. And a lot of musicians would just rather just start that process all over again.
Which is, by all definition, insanity, doing the same things and expecting different results.
I'm afraid.
So on that bombshell,
Well, I would hope that the majority of our listeners and viewers are not insane. That's probably not the best way to end. No. We do appreciate all our listeners and viewers. And if there's anything that you want us to discuss, have you got a particular music marketing issue in your own career? If so,
or experience.
leave us a comment. And throw us a question over on Spotify. You're listening it on the Spotify platform, and we will cover your issues in a future show, all being well.
Okay, until then, this has been 15-minute music marketing, and see you next time.
See you on the next episode. Bye.
Bye.